The crowd is going wild. Can't stop, won't stop. This is the moment.
5-man team white! 5-man team white!
Is this real life?
5-man team white!
Is this really happening?
This is insane!
Oh my gosh!
This is real life, and this is really happening.
I hate all production, dude.
You're a pretty dab hand at dancing. I didn't know.
I hate you too.
You're welcome. Welcome back to the European Crucible, ladies and gentlemen. Currently, our Open Division team for the second time in 2 days is 2-0 up. Neat.
Yep. And as we saw with the dab, we have the German efficiency also here reflected in our HGC games with Olf just rocking it on that side lane.
He's been doing
What a
such a
segue.
good job. What
Amazing.
a segue. Speaking of lanes, let's have a look at the maps. Let's see where we're going. That was a much worse segue. As we're heading straight in, we're going to have Roll20 choosing the battleground once again, and they are taking us to the battlefield of eternity.
All right, so first pick on BOE here for the Bananas. I mean, 2-0 lead in the series is already pretty great. Again, don't forget, yesterday we had Psystorm with the 2-0 lead as well, and then they lost 4 maps in a row. So even though the Bananas are in the lead now, doesn't mean by any means that they are already secured in HGC. Roll20 still has all the chances in the world to come back from this.
That they do. There is so many opportunities to turn this round in the favor of Roll20. They just have to regain their footing. They've shown us what they can do in league play, as I believe Snitch tweeted out perfectly. Let it be known, no one defeats Roll20 10 times in a row. And so they have the potential.
Yeah, I mean, again, it comes down, if you look, I feel like right now, everything is still up for grabs. I feel just getting a reverse sweep with an 0-3 would be nearly impossible, so I think this is the moment where you have to win a map.
Yeah, you need to start gaining that momentum back here. A full reverse sweep is stressful, to say the least.
I also really think that you can get in the heads of players on the side of the Bananas. If you win a map or two right now, you will see players that have made it into the Crucible now for the second time start doubting themselves. Maybe not like their own abilities to win, but even if they just ask themselves, oh my god, is this happening again? Do we really lose here? We can't lose. And if you get in that mindset, it just like adds up over time, and you make a mistake that you would normally not make if you just go at it calm and collected. And once that starts happening, you can completely fall off. So there's this added pressure on them, and this is something where I feel Roll20 can exploit that. If they get a win or two right now, that's definitely possible.
Absolutely. They just need to start getting momentum. This is a fantastic map for it as well. Very brawly. Potential to just win via Immortal Race if you get that decent PvE going. You don't have to play that rotation-heavy style that right now we're seeing being played so well by the Holy Bananas.
Are we? Because I would argue the exact opposite. I would say...
You want to see more rotations?
I would like... I mean, from what I've seen so far, my argument would be, why on earth would you actually try and play teamfight against them?
That's fair. That's very fair.
Like,
that first game especially was insane.
Exactly. And I mean, the criticism that I had in game number 1, again, nitpicking, but like waves that were lost.
Yeah.
Second map, the rotational game at the beginning was great from Roll20. They made mistakes later on, and the death timers, of course, just added on top of that being a problem in itself. Macro, I think, is one way how to approach the Holy Bananas. They still shown through the Haka that they have really options of still playing a strong macro game, but I would try to deny them the global and play a macro game. Cursed, for example, could be something.
You mentioned in the previous series that maybe banning the Haka or stealing it away might have been a wise move.
Go into Cursed maybe, look at Towers of Doom.
Yeah.
This is a map.
Volskaya even is available.
This would honestly be, from what I've seen so far from the Bananas, the last map that I'm going to take against them. It's not that you can't win it, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is definitely something where I say, hey, if Roll20 gets a good draft, they can overpower them. But I think this caters a little bit to the strength of the Bananas. You still can win it, but I feel like this makes it more difficult.
Well, we're going to find out. Battlefield of Eternity is the map. Do Roll20 have anything planned, or are they just still confident enough in their own team fighting abilities to take down the Holy Bananas? If not, and as Carol said, maybe we're going to start seeing them shift onto more macro global heavy maps. For now, consistency is the name of the game for Holy Bananas, banning away the Medivh.
I would say they're going to stick with the exact same bans, both teams. Ban out the Anubarak again. This is a map where teams want to brawl. Holy Bananas will bring the fight if you allow them to do that. So ban out the Anubarak again. And Tyrande.
she's decent, but you give away Hanzo if you do that, or any of the other immortal races.
No, you don't. Ban Tyrande right now. Your first pick.
Yeah,
so
sorry,
you
I've got them
can
mixed
Hanzo.
up. I've got them swapped. Yeah.
So unless they want to play Tyrande for themselves, I would definitely ban her again.
Genji, alright.
Okay, leaving both open, Tyrande and Hanzo. Let's see if Roll20 bans one of them out.
Very interesting. If they do that, then of course they're going to leave a Nubarak open,
Yep.
which is fantastic for for Holy Bananas for obvious reasons. But then of course, then they have the choice. Do we Nubarak? Do we Yrel? Do we take any of the immortal races? Do we take Tyrande? Whole lot of high priority picks still available for both teams here.
If you ban a Nubarak right now and Holy Bananas picks Hanzo, you pick Tyrande, you pick Yrel. So there's like a lot of good options. But they eliminate Hanzo. I think banking also a bit on the fact that now Tyrande was banned out twice by the Bananas. So if the Bananas do not play Tyrande, which they immediately show, well, we do, then you could have gotten away with it.
That's good to see. Good to see that they just value it super high as opposed to it say, we are not comfortable with this, we know it's good kind of scenario.
So given that they now picked her in the first rotation, I like them not banning it a lot more.
Yep.
So that's actually pretty cool here from their perspective. Nubarak is also still open.
Yeah, did Roll20 steal it? That is the question. It would be an
I
interesting
don't
move.
think so.
Yrel, Muradin, they just let it go.
I'm a little bit terrified right now for Roll20.
I'm on board with you, I feel. The Yrel, of course, we already know it's good in the hands of Harmony, but it so far has not brought them the victory despite the priority they put onto it.
The Yrel doesn't really... I mean, I think Yrel is a great pick here. My concern is more so a Nubarak immediately taken, and now the problem is you have a Nubarak together with Tyrande.
Oh my.
So when
you're
we
so right.
already talked in the previous series, game number 1, we talked about this explosive decision-making that we see from Holy Bananas whenever Earth sees a chance and everyone following up on the call. Now you have added damage with Tyrande's Hunter's Mark and even the added stun in there.
Yeah, they have...
She's great for the battleground, but she's also great for sniping.
Yeah, with this composition as well, even if Reyna doesn't take Ace in the hole, which can synergize with later talents of Tyrande, like the harsh owl, I think, harsh moonlight it might be called.
Yeah.
But being able to take that, he can instead go for Exterminator and give them the immortal race that Hanzo is already being denied to the enemy team, so they'd be forced onto someone like a Greymane.
Also, the Haka banned out.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it a lot.
This time they're saying, okay, we're kind of done with you here, so... I don't think he's going to be too sad about it, to be honest, on this battleground. Again, with the Nubarak, I would love Blaze here. I would love Blaze. I've already said that before, that with the Nubarak, give me a Yrel, give me a Blaze, give me something to help him out here at the front line, if it isn't double support in the back. So getting a Blaze for this setup would be great for them too.
They ran it a lot, 5-3 during the Open Division Division season, so they're very comfortable on the hero, and it's going to give great protection for a Nubarak, great follow-up stuns. If you get a good 4-man Burrow Charge followed up by a 4-man Thrusters, you're going to have a brilliant time.
Alright, off lane and a bit more damage would be nice for them. There's the Blaze.
And Phoenix.
And Phoenix.
So this makes me believe that we're probably going to see Reyna sticking with Ace in the hole as opposed to Exterminator here, just due to the fact that they have so many slows set up for them now.
This is exactly the kinds of draft why I would not have picked Battlefield of Eternity against them. This is exactly the setup where I thought, okay, this is what I am very afraid of if I'm Roll20. They go for a final Sergeant Hammer pick. They definitely have a lot of space control there. But, I mean...
Sergeant Hammer, Siege Tactics, it did get changed recently. I believe that's on the patch we're on, where basically she now, if she unsieges, she loses the Unstoppable from Siege Tactics.
Yeah, so just quickly, that draft from Roll20 is great. Like, I like it.
Yep.
It's a Yrel that creates space. You have Deckard Cain that does that too. You have good poke against Immortal. You have Liming, you have Yrel. Sorry, Hammer.
Yep.
But Bananas have exactly what they wanted here.
Yeah.
I don't think
there
is no doubt in my mind that this is exactly what they are looking towards. Them not banning Tyrande, picking her in the first spot, going for an Uburak again. And everything in this comp again says, we want to be aggressive, we want to kill you, and we want to bring the fight. And this is exactly the reason why when I saw the map picked by Roll20, I was like, oh boy, that might be a mistake.
Yeah.
Roll20 can still win this, but you're just giving your opponent exactly the type of game that they want. And now the only thing that the Bananas have to prove that they are really as strong with this type of composition and this type of playstyle as they have so far indicated. And yeah, for the Bananas, I think this is great. Roll20 have now to prove that they can push through this.
Well, let's find out, ladies and gentlemen, as we are heading into game number 3. And on the left, Roll20, Shad, playing on the Decade Kane this time. Quacknix is playing the Li Ming, Chris on the Sergeant Hammer, Robodoba playing that Muradin, and Zarmany is for the third time on the Ural.
Roll20, they have to be careful here. Already 0-2 in this best of 7. The Bananas to the right side with Ulf this time on Blaze. The German on the Firebat. Gugosh on Reina. Guru currently on Phoenix in game number 3. Juf as the support on Tyrande here with the Spell Armor on level 1. And Earth again back on the Enuburak with Reina. Even committing to the Exterminator as a level 1, so even more race potential on the Immortal.
It's more race potential, and you're making up for the lack of that extra damage by having that Phoenix, who still synergizes with the insane amount of slows your team has. I love it. And also, what is the, outside of Sergeant Hammer, what is the biggest issue? Li Ming poking the Immortal. So we see Rubian armor, and as you already mentioned, the spell armor for Tyrande. This basically means that if they are forced into that defensive position, they can survive in it for a lot longer than they otherwise would. I love these talent picks.
This game can be great for Roll20 if they get a victory here. They would show the Holy Bananas that they're absolutely willing to go toe-to-toe with them in team fights and can get out ahead of that.
Yeah.
But the Bananas, they must feel very confident here. You have the 2-0 lead in the series. You get exactly the comp that you want, that you're looking for. And now you have an opportunity to get that 3-0. And let's face it, a 3-0 lead in the best of 7 is nearly impossible to beat. It's incredibly difficult to win those 4 maps in a row being that far behind.
There's a reason reverse sweeps are so rare, but look at this early damage coming in from Chris. Absolutely lovely, making the most of the fact that Phoenix is holding top lane against Zarmany to try and give ult time for the mercenary camp, which he does grab.
I mean, Hammer is fantastic now in the setup, of course, for them. This is one of the big strengths. Roll20's draft by no means is weak. And having that 2-man top lane allowed for Hammer, together with the rest of Roll20, to aggressively push the bottom.
But with this distraction, look at Holy Bananas. I love this idea. Having 2 members up in top lane steals a mercenary camp. This pulls more members of Roll20 top lane, so they grab bottom mercenary camp. These rotations and this forced positioning errors of Roll20 are giving Holy Bananas so much value.
What's an unholy banana, by the way?
I would guess a demonic banana.
A what?
A demonic banana. What's the opposite of a banana? I don't know.
An apple?
Sure, why not? The demonic apples, there we go, that's the opposite.
I was thinking about this for way too long, and I know that if anyone had a dumb answer ready for it, it would be you.
I did not have one ready, but I'm sure everyone else at home will, so tweet at Caldor all of your answers for this.
We are the best that we can come up with for now is a demonic apple.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sure there are some more witty people than us at home who have something prepared for this. But now, Fallen Shaman Camp being taken by both teams. Is the opposite of a fruit a vegetable? I'd say it's candy.
Now it is.
Okay, yeah, sure, why not? As we see, so what's a tomato? As we see the Lunar Flare upgrade coming in for Tyrande, just so standard. The extra range on its own is insane.
The unholy cucumbers here on the right side. Roll20. Nah, okay, I mean, jokes aside. So for now, let's see how this is going to pan out. We are going into the first Immortal phase, and this is really, I mean, a lot of this is going to happen once level 10 is in, obviously. But even around the first Immortal phase, with the setup that is so aggressive as what the Holy Bananas have, you can make a lot of plays here. They're already super aggressive with their camp in the first place, allowing Roll20 to actually get a head start on the Immortal itself. But that was still a really good job breaking through the wall here at the top.
Problem is, similar issue in the bottom lane. The Fallen Shaman camp of Roll20 is empowered by Sergeant Hammer. They were able to get a little bit more structure damage, but Blaze with that Adrenaline Stim Pack actually empowering the wave clear very effectively.
So for now, defensive position, posture from Roll20 here. Holy Bananas also just anchoring their own Immortal. Earth, of course, on one of his most favorite heroes right now. He showcased that in game number 1. And let's see if those engages are again as coordinated as we've seen on Inferno Shrines.
They're holding the line, at least for the moment. Look at that, using that Nerubian armor to just absorb the Li Ming damage, preventing it going onto the Immortal. I love this.
And both teams still a bit hesitant with this. We're having, of course, also the waves cleared out. Hammer's doing the thing at the bot lane right now, whereas Phoenix has taken over the control of the top, trying to get that early level 7 talent here. Not quite happening just yet, but here's again Earth, and he's going for Muradin. They're going for Robodoba. The follow-up is there, and the immediate damage. Robodoba survives, but he definitely got hammered into the ground there.
If it wasn't for that cube of Deckard Cain slowing the pursuit and that follow-up route, knowing they could not chase him, Muradin would be dead. That was fantastic counterplay by Shad. Oh, might not be so lucky. Urel out of nowhere. Zarbany picks up the first blood.
And they're going for Gogush right now, and he's also in trouble. Reyna trying to create a little bit of space here. Earth already attempting to keep him safe, but that's the second kill. They're attempting to go for Earth, and he moves away just barely. But Quacknix, as you said, he capitalizes on the reset. It's a double kill for Roll20, the early level 7, and the immediate access to the opponent's Immortal.
And Quacknix making the most of the time in the halftime show, where of course you have this animation to port back and regen his mana. Very smart and good use of his time.
Great attack here by Roll20. Well, the attack originally by the Bananas and not getting a kill against Muradin, and that they counter play immediately. Nice seal from Deckard Cain. Again, the aggression, difficult position for the Bananas to fight in.
And Shad is just putting on a show on this Deckard. He's been on Malfurion twice in a row, but given all the crowd control Deckard is offering him, he is doing a fantastic job so far. And Zarbany, of course, being the usual menace that he is into the backline as Robodoba is putting pressure onto Earth.
Yeah, there's another stun in. Robodoba definitely has to be careful there at the front. There's a lot of CCs that we are seeing for the Holy Bananas, and they're trying to use that. Again, they're going in deep. They're going for Quacknix. Teleports away barely, but Robodoba is still in the back here. Gets stunned again and barely jumps out just before he's getting killed.
Now that because of the low health bars, they immediately turn it into a race. Hammer was already winning it, and this will be a Roll20 Immortal. But the pressure from Holy Bananas was able to massively weaken the shield.
Definitely, but already we have a lead in experience for Roll20. And now with the Immortal, they should actually be getting pretty far ahead here. That could be a level 10 around Immortal number 2 for them with a massive advantage. The Bananas, not quite successful in that first fight, but definitely showing some moments where they threaten Muradin or even the backline. That attack against Quacknix was nearly successful. One more CC against him, and that could have led to the death of Li Ming.
Pressure is continuously being applied. Chris making the most of that hover siege. Route onto Tyrande, but no follow-up this time. And the Immortal already down to, well, no health basically, but it does some good damage to the fort before it goes down.
Blaze even rotated topside, willing to help out. And I have to admit, I really thought Roll20 would be able to get a bit more damage in, as they now did. Blaze has all the time in the world to rotate back down again. They didn't lose any experience there. Urel was hiding in the bush for quite some time, trying then to push the wave of their own in to deny some experience through the Bananas. That play didn't quite work out. So Bananas right now with a great defense and still in a decent spot in the game.
They are, and they're even moving in to try and invade this camp and contest it against Roll20. But Roll20 hold the line and even turn around once again onto Earth. He's such a squishy beetle, but this time was able to burrow away using those subterranean shields to survive.
And really waiting until the last moment to burrow out there. He wanted to make sure that there was no interrupt left against him, so he waits until the last possible moment before he uses that escape tool of his. Clutch play, but a good one still. Needs to be, as you said, though, careful. These rotations of heroes like Urel have been a problem for them. This is the second time that Zarbany is threatening to turn fights around quite quickly. So they need to be cautious whenever they see that Zarbany is not appearing on the map. 10 still. Gonna be close for both two teams here, so there's no huge snowball risk on either side.
Third game in a row that the XP has been just so close between these two teams. Absolutely fascinating to see. But now then, we do see Fallen Shamans being taken by both teams. Ulf, once again, making the most of that Adrenaline Stimpak, cleaning out lanes.
Alright, level 10 already in for Roll20 esports. No surprise there. Disintegrate taken so that this time the Cocoon can be burned down quite efficiently. Also, I really like, we have already 5 stacks on Juve with this Tyrande as a level 4 talent for the stacks. And I really like the way that so far the Bananas have always followed up on any stun with a quick Lunar Flare. Way better coordinated, even some of the HGC teams that we've seen in recent weeks.
Yeah, they're doing the combo pretty much every time. You just heard the Hunter's Mark being dropped onto the Immortal. They drop a fair amount of damage, actually almost evening up the Immortal health. Lornado Earth immediately drops the Cocoon onto Li Ming. BFG, great damage onto Raider, who has the spell shield, is tagging through. Here comes the salvo, but no slows, very little damage done.
How the hell did Gurush just survive there? He gets completely caught by that Tornado and is somehow still alive. No one apparently focusing him. Instead, the focus onto Earth instead. Reyna tanking through all of it, and all of them did. Another attack against Gugush, but he walks away. Jimmy is still in game here, and they are winning the Immortal race quite handily at this moment.
Beetle value, Earth's Beetle blocking the Storm Bolt that could have maybe followed into another kill. But that Immortal race, like you said, Holy Bananas taking the advantage despite the head start that Hammer got Roll20.
I mean, Gugush is really playing a bit of a risky game here, like twice now, but Roll20 couldn't get the kill, so it's all working out for them. It's all well that ends well, and they are pushing in again, and they are doing a massive amount of that Immortal. They have a great poke here.
The Hammer is now in position for the defense, creeping forward, starting to do the damage. Here comes a great amount of damage. Gugush again, he can't get into the bunker. The Tornado this time secures it, but down goes Muradin as well.
It's a kill for a kill. Finally, they take down Reyna, but the Dwarf also down. And again, they're going in. Zama needs to be careful. The stuns are just hitting. So far, he has already a 100-second cooldown on the Ardent Defender, so that's not really a safety tool he can rely upon.
Juf was dropped very low in that fight by the BFG. He's able to survive, though. Everyone disengages, grabs the Fountain's ports back. In the case of Holy Bananas, very cool to see.
There's a lot happening here. I mean, that fight could have flipped several times in favor of Roll20. Now they even have the fast rotation towards the Immortal, but the Bananas are immediately focusing topside, trying to get some damage. And not only that, they're going for Zarmany again. Stun into stun, and he's pushed back. The salvo coming through too, getting the extra damage in, but Phoenix gets dropped here. The Tornado play again by Chat.
Zarmany not even close to going down here, tanking through it. Phoenix overextending. Great news for Roll20 as they keep the pressure on. They force Juf and Gugush away from their Immortal and begin creeping towards the Immortal of Holy Bananas.
We've seen plays like this from Nurok in the past on Team Liquid, where he just has the perfect Tornadoes to interrupt any kind of defensive play by Phoenix. No warp out, and that's exactly what we saw there too. But the fight isn't over yet. They're going for Zarmany again, and they're stun barely missing. And and he still goes down. Looked like he would be able to escape, but then Zarmany, in the last few moments, gets dropped by Blaze.
Nice use of that bunker, able to turn that around, get the extra range with that flamethrower as well. Great to see, but with that, that will secure the Immortal for Holy Bananas.
Yeah, that was quite something. I mean, it was pretty cool to see that they were able to turn all of this around after Phoenix fell, but what a kill there against Urel. That was clutch. Getting the Immortal, and now also already in the lead with an experience, so they can try and, of course, get that early level 13 if they not only drop the towers here, but also the fort. That's going to be an easy thing for them to pull off. And that could lead to a very aggressive dive into the backline here. I mean, with Nubarak, you always have the option to be super aggressive and force the fight, especially since they still have Cocoon up.
Double knock-up. No commitment with that Cocoon yet, being very patient. This fort is certainly going to fall. There is no question on that. The question is how much more value and how much more aggressive are Holy Bananas willing to try and get?
Already, we're seeing that Immortal without the shields going straight into the melee attack.
Yeah.
And they should be able to break through this. Massive damage on the gate already. First turret about to fall, second one about to go down here. Even the Keep is going to take damage. I'm wondering if they can even commit to it here.
They're hovering around, but with those hammer mines clearing out a lot of the minions, they're not willing to take the risk. Tornado onto Ulf, but he's able to take the long wraparound. He's very tanky at this stage, and they're able to force the disengage. They're not even disengaging, they're still hovering around, getting some extra blaze damage onto this Keep.
They're waiting for the minion wave, and they're actually trying to get a bit more done with this. They need to be cautious, though. 13 isn't there yet for Roll20, but he will be soon. They're still sieging up on this.
They have to give up. Hammer wave clear. If they were waiting for the minion wave, Hammer just shut it down completely. And as such, Holy Bananas, they get good damage onto the Keep. That is great for a couple Immortals time, or even just if they send an Immortal top lane with no shields, being able to split push bot lane and guarantee a Keep one way or the other. This is setting up for late game. What is happening here?
Wrap around. Big one.
Next dodges, but the backline is in trouble.
Shad in particular needs to be very careful here. Great jet propulsion by Ulf. They go for Shad. The Tornado is there. The BFG comes through. The Cocoon for now, keeping Urel out of the fight.
Salvo.
And here comes the salvo.
They dive onto Chris, who eats so much damage. He's getting so many potions. Tekken keeping him alive. The Beetle's chasing him down. But Chris is able to escape. Roll20 with the miracle escape.
Kidding me.
That was awesome.
Not a single one dying. Hammer basically dead, Shat about to fall, and everyone surviving through this. The Bananas with a wraparound play, trying to engage from behind and catch them off guard. And then the miraculous escape of Roll20 as they somehow keep the entire team alive.
That escape was definitely like a DC 25. They rolled a natural 20. Even able to escape that. That was absolutely insane. Holy Bananas are not going to be happy with that.
If you thought that the escapes in Shawshank Redemption were impressive, then you haven't watched this game yet. That was quite something.
As we see them begin to move forward, Roll20 making the most of, well, being alive and on even talents, moving in and starting to do exactly what this composition does best, poke the Immortal.
Yeah, sieging up here as we see Blaze dealing with the bot lane camp. The same, of course, true for the Roll20 team, as we are seeing Li Ming and Urel making the play topside, immediately starting to move in again from that angle, looking for it, but the Storm Bolts from Robot Oba this time sniffing the play out and stopping Anubarak in his tracks as Earth is looking for the engage.
He's all hovering around as well. Quacknix sends in the pain over and over. Adrenaline Stimpack being used for the speed boost here. It's an escape route as they turn onto Urel up top, doing great damage with that Arsenal synergy.
Tons of free damage here against Urel. Zarmany needs to be careful and just eats the potion. Deckard Kane is throwing them out the entire time. Shat keeping the team in play here. And once more, Earth on the Beetle just looking for an opportunity to jump on anyone. The follow-up is always there. The Bananas are ready for it. They're waiting for their frontliner to make the play. And this is the best thing about Earth. He's not afraid to make that call and go in. And again, they're trying to make the play for Muradin. BFG, Cocoon gets burned down. The salvo comes through as Holy Bananas look for the fight.
It's decent damage, but Lornado not able to catch anyone for the counter kill. Once again, everyone survived with mid fountain still up. Li Ming just runs to it quickly. As Robodova gets engaged on, he's getting dropped low. Avatar keeps him alive though. And Zarmany with enough distraction for Robodova to heal back up and turn onto Earth.
Earth going down this time. Bunker was already used earlier, and there we have Ulf barely escaping with the jet propulsion himself. And Nubarak, tough to play, and Earth definitely doing a great job in game one, and even in this game, a lot of great moves by him, but when you do not get those kills, when you go a bit too deep, you will be punished for that low hit point pool, and this time Earth, he just couldn't get the kill against Muradin quick enough. He got the Avatar through, and then it was nearly impossible for them to drop Robot over.
Guru, clutch teleport out, but good stuns. Gugush is having deja vu. He doesn't want to be here anymore. He's pulling back, getting all the healing possible from Joof, and is able to escape once again. Blaze, not so lucky, dies for the second time in 2 minutes.
Stagger deaths here just as Anubara comes back, and of course, Holy Bananas, they are trying to keep that Immortal shield low, but it's difficult for them. They still have the leading experience. They're still closer to 16. Again, Earth moving in here immediately. They're trying to put the pressure on, but they're risking stagger deaths as the Roll20 team is immediately ready for the defense.
And it's a 4 versus 5 here. They are still going to try and race this by the looks of it due to the Immortal of Holy Bananas being so low. Roll20 will pick up this Immortal. That's going to be heading into the bot lane. Fantastic news for Roll20, because if they can push aggressively with this, it cleans up the lane and reduces pressure onto their already weakened keep.
We should see the 16 come in for Holy Bananas, though. And with a bit of luck, they even will have an initial advantage over their opponent, where they can maybe put free pressure onto the Immortal and eliminate the shield before Roll20 gets their own 16. So they are already trying to do exactly that. Some free damage in. Look at Earth anchoring the play here. He needs to be careful since Robodoba is going to make that exact rotation. But they already took down the shield. Will retreat here. Gets pushed into the opponent's team, but there's no follow-up. Robodoba doesn't find the Storm Bolt.
Fantastic use for Nerubian armor once again, but down goes the 4. Immortal down to half health though. This is definitely a feasible defense.
All that you have to do right now from the perspective of the Bananas is save the keep.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they're trying to do. And it's very likely to happen. I mean, this Immortal is already suffering.
It won't even make it through the gate. That is fantastic news for Holy Bananas.
And Earth was still thinking about engaging him. I was like, okay, boys, already took a bit too much damage. Let's leave it at that for now. But we know they are aggressive, and if they find another chance, they are going to take it.
And right now, they begin creeping forward with 16 to 16 experience pretty much equal. Earth very far forward, already in position for the wraparound.
I mean, we're talking so much about the Bananas. Think about Roll20 here. They are now in a spot where they need to get a win in this series.
Yeah.
They need to get a map win. They saw yesterday how the Monkeys got eliminated from HGC. They don't want to suffer the same fate. They're sitting in a spot now where their own livelihood is definitely on the line. If they drop out here, then this is it with a professional career for at least some of these players. We might see 1 or 2 being picked up by other teams within HGC, but it would still be a disaster for them. So right now, they have to get that first map win. If they go down 0-3 in the best of 7, it would be nearly impossible to turn things around.
And right now, they are just playing it safe. They have enough experience. They are equal. They're on even footings. But so far, every time they've been even footing in the past, they have struggled and they have been taken out. As we... Sorry, go on.
I was just mentioning the Dwarf launch on the side of Muradin here even. Not even going into stone form. Allows him to go a bit deeper for those engages, but also the escape potential that we have from Robodoba is, of course, pretty great with that. It's really a hard fought game. 6 kills against 2. To be honest with you, I even am a bit surprised we only have seen 8 kills so far.
Yeah.
Roll20 got most of them, some of them staggered kills, because the Bananas are just not afraid to fight in the 4 versus 5 if they have to.
So far, it's working. They have so much escape potential and armor on their side that it's hard for Roll20 to find kills.
It's another Immortal on exactly even talents.
Man, I mean, Giant Killer is definitely going to help from Sergeant Hammer. More percentage damage, going to be able to ignore a fair amount of the armor that's being applied,
but
for Rainer
Epicenter
especially. Epicenter, though, like you said, great counter-engage potential is going to be really tough to deal with.
That's when Earth goes in and is like, boys, it's Christmas, I'm 16, I get the Epicenter, we are ready to go here. Again, I have to stress how young that kid is. He's 15 years old as far as I know, so it's absolutely impressive how well he performs here and how... Just the decisiveness of his calls, I think, is very impressive. We have a lot of tanks that have been in HGC for a lot longer that are not as decisive when it comes to the engage as he is. When he sees an opening, he calls it, he makes it, and the team follows.
He has more levels in this game than he has in his life, and he is still this good. As we see him moving forwards, Harmony maybe a little bit overextended, but immediate Ardent Defender is sort of a dissuasion tool. But Robodoba wants to turn this into a play as ulting so much damage, drops an aggressive bunker. Salvo Robodoba taken out. Great turnaround by Guru.
He goes down, and that was fantastic kill here by Phoenix. Really good salvo coming out on the back end, and that's a fort. Why would you go for the Immortal here if you can get the keep for free? They take the keep immediately and then rotate into the middle. Great kill here. 2 heroes jumping in, and Holy Bananas just not afraid to take that fight. The rest of Roll20 esports was a bit too late on the rotation, and the immediate pressure against Murd in particular. The Hunter's Mark on Tyrande doing work. The auto attacks that we're seeing coming in from Reina, delivering a punch, and then the final shots with a salvo.
With that, Holy Bananas easily get the halftime show. They keep piling on the pressure. As we will wait for Muradin to return, only 4 seconds away, they will potentially be able to try and contest and put up a token defense, but so much damage has already been done.
Yeah, this is an easy race. Easy race for the Bananas. I mean, they already have the lead here, so they can force that fight later. They can go into a trade if they want to, if Roll20 even gives that opportunity. But at this point, if you're Roll20, you are stuck in the defensive position.
Yes, you are, but they seem to be happy to be there. They have Sergeant Hammer, of course, so it's a little easier. But like you said, Epicenter.
This is where I want Holy Bananas to show that they can play this slow. Because they have no catapults amassing at the bot lane. So of course with Roll20 pushing in, they can now try and defend by themselves and need to make sure that Chris doesn't get too much value here. But they also have pressure building up through the bot lane, and that's another advantage in their favor.
Speaking of advantages, Zhu, like you said, trying to deny this poke, using that harsh moonlight, getting that consistent slow and getting that consistent damage reduction onto Hammer, which he sets up for the poke. Great news here to prevent that immortal race and try and deny the poke and give time for those catapults. Zarmany trying to kill off the Banshee might get punished for it. Great engage! Didn't even have a chance as ult's already in the backline looking for more.
And Defender, nope, not gonna happen. You are out of play, my friend. And look how fantastic that coordination was. Reina called it. He scouted it out, and all of a sudden, everybody pounced on the same time. I love the way that they are coordinating these attacks.
By Li Ming. Oh, too early with the Lunar Flare. Quacknix blinks away, but gone.
Yeah, not even needed the salvo attempt here, just throwing it out anyways. Better safe than sorry. Now they're going for the play again. Roba just came back and now in trouble again. Juf, by the way, killing it on that Tyrande.
Yes,
hitting so many, even without a setup. He's on 19 stacks on his level 4. He's playing better around the Lunar Flare than most of the HGC players that we have seen.
I think we can see why they banned it. It might not be because they don't want the opponents to have it. It's just because Juf's so good. They
it's a
think the
handicap?
hero is good. Yeah, handicap, that's also what it could be. As they grab the Immortal moving forwards.
Yeah, don't ban out Tyrande, guys. We want to make it an even fight. Like, don't make it too easy.
We're on stream. We want it to make it entertaining. As we see them, he's been doing so well as they push in. Very happy to see that, but they must rate Tyrande so high because he's so good at it.
Yeah, he's actually doing extremely well in this game. So right now, the coordination is just absolutely pitch perfect. The Bananas going in again, and that is a difficult Immortal to beat. Level 20 in the hands of the Bananas. The fight is there. Roll20 trying with a desperate attempt to somehow defend this. Here comes the double stun again with a Lunar Flare. They're trying to go in, trying to get the damage. Already the Cocoon onto Li Ming in the backline. The Immortal is getting onto the core. That's being seeing Sarmony and Roba jumping in deep for potential kills.
Chris is uncontested. He burns down the bunker very quickly. Good blink by practice to dodge the engage by Nubrak, but already Yavrel is taken out. Roba building on a great fight though as they turn around. A double triple spirit of Guru is popped as Shad needs some help with this Immortal. It's taking down the core. There's no one left to deal with this counter.
The core is falling in, and Quacknix and Shad are the only ones left, and that's just not enough. A 3-0 as the Bananas go deep and take another win.
They have got a 3-0 right now. We have been talking about this for 2 games in a row now of just how difficult a reverse sweep is. But that's now what faces Roll20.
Whew.
I don't know what to say.
It was 6 kills against 2.
Yeah,
and
in
then
favor of Roll20.
Yeah, and then the Banana said, okay, it's game time, boys.
That was some insane turnarounds. Great fun to find, like you said, the shot calling. Reyna spotting Yorel, who's just trying to get a free kill on that Banshee. Just remove it, get rid of some of the vision. And it's the vision that ends up being Zombi's downfall. Though.
I don't think that Zombie got ever slept around this hard in that situation. I mean, it's 16 Yorel, and it just shows for a second, and all of a sudden you see like Nubarak jumps in, the Lunar Flare comes down, and from the side you have Blaze coming, all of them, and it's just like, okay, dead instantly. That was brutal.
Yeah. It was absolutely brutal, but the game, once again, we're seeing the exact same thing 3 games in a row. So close, even levels, even buildings, everything staying so close. But it's the end game, it's the late game, the end game decision making that is winning Holy Bananas these games every single time.
And you have to be impressed by the composure this team shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is crazy. Like, so many teams would have panicked. Not everything goes perfect. Yes, there's definitely room for improvement, but just imagine what happens when this team, if they make it into HGC, what happens and how far they could go if they get those regular scrims against top-level teams. I mean, we've seen it with Leftovers, for example. We had E-Punks with a fantastic showing yesterday against the Monkeys. Now we have a 3-0 from the Holy Bananas against Roll20. And these 2 teams coming from the Open Division just look so incredibly powerful and well-coordinated. It's a pleasure to watch it.
I completely agree. It's such a fascinating series we have so far. It's nothing like the series we had yesterday, where E-Punks were able to take the first 2 games very convincingly, and then the next 2 we had Monkey Menagerie coming back a bit, but weren't able to take it. In this case, Holy Bananas are just going blow for blow with Roll20, but the difference is they finish games. And right now, Holy Bananas have been doing that with such great effectiveness that I am concerned. I was already concerned for Roll20. It's a reverse sweep. That's already cause for concern, but I am concerned to see them actually end a game.
I mean, again, try the macro game.
Yeah, I think that's the choice now.
You've seen Samuro banned out 2 times already. Actually, yes, 3 times. No, 2 times. 2 times banned out by the Bananas. Play a macro game against them. Try and get a global. You have Quacknix. He is a good shot caller. He knows how to make these macro calls. Even if there are still synergy problems on the side of Roll20, rely on that. Play around the Dehaka in your own team. Try to play around, like, in a different scenario, I would say even like drop in the Falstead, for example, but try and play a macro style against an opponent that has focused heavily on team fights throughout the entire time that they played here. This might be the one moment where you can have a good chance there. Go to Cursed, go to Towers of Doom, play one of the big maps where you can exploit that.
Yeah, and we know that Roll20 are very comfortable picking the maps because they've done it 2 times in a row now. And, well, it's not working for them. So being able to change, to continue down that route, but change up the play style, either that, or we mostly have larger games left, larger maps left anyway. Maybe it's just time to go for first pick. Just change up the draft that way.
Depending on how they want to draft and what they're aiming for, it's definitely another option for them. I mean, 0-3.
Yeah. The reverse sweeps are a thing, ladies and gentlemen. We've had them before. But this is a reverse sweep 4 games in a row to stay in HGC Europe Pro Division. I can't stress just how much stress that must be putting on Roll20 right now. This is insane.
It's honestly crazy. I mean, if you think about who's on their team, Robodoba moved over from the same as Arcana to play here in Europe, and now he's just 1 map loss away from being eliminated from HGC. Chris has been in the hero scene for so long, one of the most popular streamers that we have in the scene, and now he's about to be eliminated if he doesn't pay attention here. Shad, Zarmany, 2 players that have played in Alpha already, that have a huge history in competitive play, and for all of them, they need now to win 4 maps in a row if they want to stand here. And on the other side, we have a team that is young, hungry. Some of them, yes, have been playing for a long time, but we have a couple of newcomers on that team too, and it's just absolutely incredible how well they are coordinated already in those team fights. And again, yes, there are mistakes. They are making some engages that are maybe a bit too aggressive, some decisions that might not be perfect, but they're playing for literally their career in esports, and they actually didn't also have as much practice time as a lot of other teams. Yeah. They had this week, I think Olf himself was missing for 2 days this week. Another one of their players didn't have time for 2 days. Some of them still go to school. So there's a lot of practice time that gets lost through that. And even with that, you can see that dedication coming in and all that work paying off with them now having such a massive lead in this series.
And right now, we are just waiting for the next battleground, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be getting into that as soon as possible. But like you said, it is experience versus up-and-coming talent. And right now, the up-and-coming talent are doing a superb job at putting Roll20 down. They have still been, as we already called, reliant on that Anub'arak. I want to see them stick it, going back to what they did in game number 2, because they did a fantastic job there of banning that Anub'arak away.
I also want to highlight something else here, just outside of the pure drafting and what we have. When I casted Warcraft 3 back then, towards the end of Warcraft 3, we had a player, it was a young French kid that actually started to come in, and back then he was 12 years old, and he started to actually take maps of some of the big names that we had in the European scene, like Robbie and Todd back then. And we always said, like, when we casted this guy, like, just imagine if he sticks with it. Just imagine if that guy stands there. StarCraft 2 comes around, and this little French kid starts playing StarCraft 2, and his name was Stefano, and he just craps on everyone and becomes one of the best StarCraft 2 players that we ever had in Europe. Earth is a little bit older, granted, but he's already now getting experience in the competitive setup. If he makes it into HGC and gets the experience there, you can transition into other games a few years down the line if you want. Just getting that experience and experiencing what it feels like and what you have to put in order to play on that level, that can be a huge start for a long career in esports. We have players like Hazops that have been in esports for 16 years. So this is definitely for him also a huge opportunity where he can stay in the esports scene for a long, long time if through a spot in HGC he feels, yes, this is what I want to do with my life.
Yeah, exactly. We have several second game pros in Heroes at the moment, like you already mentioned, Hasu.
Third game for him, yeah.
Yes, oh my, I keep forgetting he did Warcraft as well. That's kind of mind-blowing in itself. We can talk about that another day. But seriously, the amount of talent that is shown by some of these teams and the amount of the ability to keep that going into either other games or just as long as the game lifespan is amazing. And like you said, starting at a younger age, always good for that.
Yeah, and we had a lot of these players, especially within the Blizzard environment. Stefano is being 1 year of Reyna in StarCraft 2 as well, who still sticks with it. But a lot of these guys have started extremely young. Yeah. And it's just like getting used to this entire thing around it, dealing also with, I mean, it might sound ridiculous to some people, but the social media pressure that you have when you're looking at that feedback, learning to ignore a lot of it and just work through it. Also setting up that support net you need from friends, family to give you the feedback, give you also just like the assurances and just like the consistency, some of just like the confidence that you need going into one of these games. And we have a little bit of a tank issue actually in Europe. I'm not quite sure if people picked up on that. JPL is retiring right now, and we have actually always had a lack of a huge arsenal of tanks to be played there. And now Earth, at that young age, already coming in and showing that decisiveness and communicating with his team, that can actually be becoming a leader in the long run to that.
And we have the battleground ready, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for waiting. And it is going to be Roll20 map choice, and they've chosen a big map, Kaldor. We're heading to Cursed Hollow.
I'm happy about this. I would have loved to see Cursed Hollow before Battlefield of Eternity. Now, again, don't get me wrong. They played well on Battlefield, and it was a close map, very close one. But I personally expected them to try and just play that macro game. It's what most of the teams that try to come into HGC that go through the Crucible are lacking. They're having trouble with macro style. They're missing out on lane experience, and the rotations are not as crisp. Where they usually excel at is brawling. And that's something that we see from the Bananas right now. So I expected this map to come out way earlier.
Well, let's see what kind of more macro style, if they are going to bring it, Roll20 have, and how Holy Bananas are going to be able to adjust to this as we head into Cursed Hollow. Now, for Holy Bananas, of course, they have played this map a fair amount less, actually, than a lot of the other maps in the pool. Only 2 games on record for Cursed Hollow, and it's a 50% win rate.